Well, despite it being the end of April, our osmanthus here is doing us proud, just about hanging on to flower. When you bear in mind this has been in flower right from winter through, well, it's nearly summer, isn't it? Just about hanging on. The wisps of beautifully fragrant, sweet foliage still wafting across the garden. And it does demonstrate just how important having structural evergreens in a border is. It provides a skeleton, a building block, if you like, on a large scale or a smaller scale, like the ilex here, which is essentially doing exactly the same job, or the next step down, the olearia here. But these three do demonstrate one of the challenges of using evergreens, and that is they tend to grow relatively slowly. And they just suddenly, you look out of the window one morning and think it's occupying just an enormous amount of space, and it just becomes an amorphous blob. Just something which is in the way, really. Nothing demonstrates that principle more than our Mahonia down here. This is Mahonia media charity, typically planted around about a couple of feet high, and then within a few years it starts to become much more grand. And quite frankly, it really has become a bit of a thug, and pruning is really the only option. But before you get the saw out, just stand back and have a look, because you need to look at the structure and define, what can I do with this particular plant? What is going to be left and what am I aiming for? And then, if you get in and have a look at some of the stems, just look at that. Deeply fissured bark, wonderful craggy nature. It's got real personality and character. It would be such a shame to take out this central stem, which you could easily do here to rejuvenate from the base, but it means you would be missing out on all of this tree-like canopy. So I think what we need to do is probably start at the bottom and thin out, and then choose just how far we go with it. One of the things which is slightly unusual about pruning at this time of the year is that you can prune evergreens because they finish their principal flush of flowers. You can see the berries being formed here, and they've started their flush of growth, and that means the sap is rising, the plant is in action, and as a consequence it's safe to prune. If you prune this in autumn, then of course what you do is prune out all the flowers, you miss out on the berries, but also the plant tends to go into something of a downward spiral, into something of a sulk. So much better to wait until you see the first signs of growth. So the second step really, once you've got rid of all of the frass at the bottom, is to then strategically go through and take out anything which is dead or crossing a little bit further up. The third way of pruning it is to think about reducing the height, otherwise all your flowers will just go skyward and you'll never see them again. And in order to do that, if you take one of these stems which is going skyward, you can see immediately it's got a collection of these younger branches off of here, and then the main stem continues to go upwards. So if you can take out that top stem, you still end up with the potential for flower here, but it stops the plant being super vigorous and just going skyward. From a thuggish shrub to an elegant, if somewhat prickly, star performer, you get a sense of just how four-dimensional this plant is now. Look at the fissures in the bark, just beautiful. Bit of feed around this, it'll be perfect in winter.